6 uncles on both sides of my family that served in the Army, Air Force, and Navy, and so, you know, they were all father figures in some form or fashion in my upbringing, and so service, sacrifice, you know, I saw what it did for our family in terms of their commitment to provide and to lead, and that was always something that was near and dear to my heart. And currently I have a son who's at Arizona State in the Air Force ROTC, and he's actually coming back from camp tomorrow. And so we're just really proud of him and the commitment that he's made to serve and carrying on that next generation. So that's where my connection comes from. And then of course the work I do at JP Morgan, which I know we'll get into.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the neat things that I remember from a little over 15 years ago, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan was still just raging. I was in Pentagon at the time, and a friend of mine from the State Department, USAID, wrote to me and said, Joseph, have you got any kind of deck or presentation that can help my civilian friends understand military lingo, military acronyms? Because a lot of them want to help and reach out to military members, but they're just intimidated by the rank. What if I call that person by the wrong rank? What if I call that person by the wrong branch or whatever it happens to be? But that obviously didn't, keep you away from this community. What enabled you to just step in early on, and do you remember even remotely what your first opportunities were to serve in this military connected community?
Yeah, well, so I started at the bank as a part-time teller right out of college. And one of the tellers that...
And I just want to double foot stomp on that. So from, in the military lingo, he literally started as a groom. He started as an E1 right there, the first job, mopping floors in the military equivalent as a bank teller. Part-time even.
Part-time bank teller. And one of my colleagues was actually in the reserves. And of course, the war had started after 9/11. I graduated in 2002. And, he was about to be deployed. And so he was working through the internal things that you need to do at work to be able to get that leave to go and serve our country. And so that was like my first connection within the firm of somebody who I worked with day to day who was going and taking a leave and making that sacrifice. And so for me, that was just so valuable lesson that there are people that I know that work at the firm that are doing this extra work outside to serve our country, and the firm is supporting that. And so that was the first inclination into what I can do to help support my fellow colleagues. And then of course through my career, I started in management very young, and one of the things that we looked at is we had to hire a lot of talent. And so there were a lot of folks that would come to the bank from having served, and I remember interviewing someone who had just gotten out who came in to be a branch manager, and I just said, regardless of not having any banking experience, you've got the leadership experience, you understand people and what it takes to run a team. That's what I need on my team. And so from there, it was just continuing to snowball into what we do today at the firm and what I do to help veteran entrepreneurs and the things that I do outside of the firm.
Yeah, and one way that we can all stay connected better, it's not a perfect tool, but it's one of the best that we have, which is LinkedIn. And if you look at somebody's LinkedIn profile, you see they do a little this and that. If you look at mine, it looks like a bag of Skittles was thrown into the air, hit the floor, exploded, and went in every direction. Makes no sense at all. But when you look at Peter's LinkedIn, I just absolutely, I don't think I've seen anything like this in years. Very first experience, bank teller. And then connected to the next promotion in JP Morgan. And then Chase, and then Chase, and then Chase. What, 24 years and how many months?
Next week it'll be 24 years exactly.
Yeah. And so what's cool about that is he's seen it from the bottom to the top. He's not quite Jamie Dimon yet. Young guy though, we'll see. If you don't know Jamie Dimon, he's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. But what's cool about it though is he's had the opportunity to see it from different levels. So as you've gone up through literally the ranks, like rifleman, all the way through to the executive director and the various VP levels you've had, what are the different things that you've experienced and JP Morgan has experienced in working with the veteran community?
Well, I think for us, we recognize the value of the folks that we have hired. We've hired over 20,000 veterans. At JP Morgan, we have over 3,100 military spouses that actively work at the bank. And when we think about the values that folks who come from the military into the civilian world, into corporate America, they bring leadership skills, they bring teamwork skills, problem solving. We know that they have a history of resiliency in facing adversity and challenges. And so as we think about what kind of qualities and those values that mirror the values that we have at JP Morgan, we just feel like it's a natural integration into our corporate culture. Sure, there's a lot of differences within that. And of course, one of the things I do at the firm as well is I'm a mentor through our Pathways program. So if you have a veteran who's come in through a couple of different avenues, we have military pathways, we have skill bridge program, but once they get into the firm, they can connect to someone like me who's been around the block or two and really have those one-on-one, it's a 9-month program, sometimes it extends beyond that, and we can just talk about things that they're challenged with their job, how are the things that they're experiencing similar to their military experience, but also then how can I help them navigate corporate America? How can I help them navigate the firm? How can I be an advocate on their behalf as they think about promoting and taking this and building a career out of it? Because it is a sensitive path to follow, and helping them see that there's a lot of opportunity, and it's just giving them the chance and the exposure to the different paths that are available to them. And I think that's one of the things that I'm so fortunate that our firm is heavily invested in supporting our employees that are veterans. And that's one way that, I try to give back on just day-to-day things.
Yeah, we've talked a lot here at NCM3 about, in every branch probably has its own version of this, but in the Army parlance, we call it the barracks lawyer. So the barracks lawyer is that person in the barracks, he or she is a fellow soldier, who claims to know everything about everything, especially on the outside. Like, oh, when you get out, you got to this, oh, I knew a guy who got that. And oftentimes that barracks lawyer is wrong on every aspect. They're just full of shit. So how much work or cajoling or like nudging do you have to do to help a lot of these vets understand that you exist, that these pathways exist, that they don't have to just rely on what they heard from the barracks lawyer, and they can ask the dumb questions. They can be like, well, wait, why don't I get a corner office on the top floor of the bank on my first day? That's what the barracks lawyer said we'd get. How do you break through that?
Well, I think it's a corporate culture of establishing trust and transparency, especially as you think about breaking barriers and really connecting with somebody from a personal and human side of things to say, although I did not serve and I don't have and share your experience in the military, I know what it is to work from a part-time teller. Now I'm an executive director with the firm. I know what it takes, and I've managed folks and I've led teams. And so allow me to be a sounding board, to be able to teams message me when you have a challenging situation with a manager or a colleague. Like, how do you handle that? And of course, it's a intimate conversation, full transparency. It's one of those things where that trust that we build allows us to then have those honest conversations. And quite honestly, I think for a lot of them, it's really refreshing that there's somebody there that cares about them as a colleague and as a person, and that we're there to help. And because I know that the more that we develop our employees, the better we all do at serving our clients and serving our mission as a firm. And so for me, if I can do that, I'm doing my part.
Yeah, and what I like about that is, not only is it, in my opinion, the right thing to do, but many of us, those that serve in uniform especially, know that the military invests so much in people that it is not uncommon for that shock effect for many of our military veteran friends when they get into the private sector, that they don't have that support channel. They don't have that group. There is no one looking out for them. It's very cutthroat, and I just think that the culture you all set up is pretty fantastic. So let's talk a little bit more about that. I don't know if it's Jamie Dimon himself, the CEO, or where it kind of started in Chase years ago, but I know you all have been very closely armed with the veteran entrepreneur community, that's what Lauren was talking about earlier, what do you know about not only where you are today, but where you hope to go in the future with that connection? Like for instance, you've never heard of Bunker Labs? You should. It now exists under a slightly different brand with the Institute for Military Veterans and Families, IVMF, out of Syracuse University. But kind of give a description of what that partnership looks like. What are the different opportunities for folks in this room who may want to know more?
Yeah, it's a wonderful partnership and investment. So Bunker Lab, IBMF, JP Morgan CEO Circle. So when we think about the veteran community, especially entrepreneurship, we know that there's so much talent in the veteran community from an entrepreneurship standpoint, right? Creative ideas, framework, they have the intangibles to start a business, and it's helping them create the formal format to now go into a business and have a partner from a bank standpoint. And so for us, it's the CEO Circle, where we help entrepreneurs through a program to get them connected, to get them awareness, get them exposure, and then also too, when they come out of that program, to be partnered with a mentor, which I've done before. And then one of the things that we focus heavily on is how do we support our veteran entrepreneurs, right? What kind of challenges are they facing in starting a business, growing a business? We know that all businesses face challenges with access to capital. They face challenges with systems or integrations, and so how do we wrap our arms around our veteran ecosystem of entrepreneurs and really help them thrive in whatever industry that is? And so that's something that has been ingrained from the top down, because we've recognized how opportunistic it is for us to partner with that ecosystem to help them be extremely successful. And we're seeing it in the news just recently, right? A company here in Austin that helped rescue the down Saronic, right? I mean, just a prime example of what those folks can do to help serve our country as well. And so we're just completely invested, and it's just been a wonderful experience for us.
Yeah, so what Peter alluded to is Saronic, a Texas-based company, investments right here from Austin, Texas. Dino, who is he Navy or Marine Corps? Navy SEAL, and their company, Saronic, had the Navy Corsair autonomous, nobody was piloting, there were no humans on the boat, and it went and rescued the two downed Apache pilots, if I have the story correct, the other day, and it's the first time ever that kind of thing has been done in a maritime situation. And that was right here, born out of the ecosystem that you're a part of. Now that's the success story on this end. Let me tell you about the screw it up on this end, on the beginning stages. So, brand new entrepreneur, Joseph Kopser, 2011, 2012 timeframe. I've got this idea for Ride Scout. Craig Cummings, who many of you all may know, if you don't know, follow him on LinkedIn, now with Moonshot's Capital. But Craig overheard me talking about this app that I wanted to build to unite all the mobility systems of a city together. So if you're saying you're at the Capital Factory and you want to go up to UT, you can see all the different modes of transportation. Now you say that in 2026, you're like, duh. But when you say that in 2011, people are like, that's interesting. So as we started to build this company, I didn't really know how to build a company. So I went to Craig, and Craig said, well, I'm going to send you some money. So he sent me my first check ever was $5,000, and he dropped it into a USAA joint account that we set up. So I used that $5,000 to host somebody to meet him for a beer, like Dr. Bob Metcalf of the University of Texas, you know him, and different entrepreneurs around town. And then after a while, somebody wanted to give us our first check, like big check, like $25,000. So I called back to USAA and said, hey, I need my business credit card now. And I could still hear the laughter in the voice on the other end of the phone, like, sir, we don't do business banking. And I said, where am I supposed to deposit this $25,000 check? I don't understand. So that's how clueless I was. So if you're at that stage in your company's formation, that's okay. I was dumber than that. And in doing so, I was still in the Army at the time. I was teaching at the University of Texas. So I looked out my window, no joke, and there was a Chase location across the street. And I just walked across the street at lunch and said, can I open up a business banking account? And then the teller, the manager that was there, asked me a lot of great questions of which I had none of the answers. He asked me for an EIN and all this stuff. And I said, a who? With a what? And this was before Bunker. But here's the good news, the moral of the story. Not only did I open up that account that day, I deposited that $25,000 check, but we proceeded to deposit another $2.8 million into that account over the next couple of years. So I don't want to sugarcoat it, but Peter is not only doing good, but he's also doing good business, because if he finds the next Ride Scout, it not only helps the business community, but it helps Chase, and then Chase can help more veterans, and vice versa, and it just builds one on top of the other. So what advice do you have to the Joseph Copser that's out here that doesn't even know what an EIN is, and where they start, and what are the kind of services that are out there? I know this is not necessarily what you do anymore, you're pretty senior, but who would be the first person you connected with?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I think I've been on the business banking commercial side for the last 11 years, and I've seen from ideation all the way up to where within my group we work with companies that are up to 100 million in revenue. And so all the way through that journey, it's important for us as bankers to understand and meet our clients where they are. You may not have an EIN. Let's help get you the EIN so we can get you the account.
By the way, if you don't know what an EIN is, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. This is where you need to be.
Yeah, so let's help you get that started, and then we'll help guide you through. But it's important for us to know where you're going so that we can bring in the team that can help support you. And I think that's the most important part is, as I talked earlier about just internally having trust with colleagues, I think it's also important for any entrepreneur to go talk to your banker, share with them what you're doing, where you are today, where you're going, and asking, how can you help me? And then it's our job as bankers to now facilitate that relationship and bring in those resources to help you thrive and guide you, because navigating the entrepreneur journey and growing from startup to a small business that's starting to make revenue to growing to $500,000, million, $10 million, $20 million, $100 million, like that is such a vast journey, and there's so many decisions that are made through there, and having someone who understands the story. I'll be honest, guys, so when I was in college, I failed money in banking. Okay, so I haven't said that publicly in a long time.
And you said it now.
And I did. And so, but where I'm going with that is there's a personal human aspect to the job that we do. It's understanding our founders, their leadership team, the journey, because that story is so compelling that the numbers don't tell. And so it's our job to bridge that gap, and that's the part that I really love about what I do working with my clients. And so I would just say, if you're starting your journey, if you're in your journey, if you don't have a great relationship with your banker, it may be time to find another banker, but I guarantee you, having that honest conversation will do wonders for you as you continue to navigate and having that partner in your corner.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason why I'm so excited about this community and have been a part of this since early days is to let you know that those dumb questions you have festering in the back of your brain, we all have those same dumb questions. And it's okay. And in this community, you get to ask those questions. And I hope you do during our Q&A. But I want to tell another story to double stomp your point about knowing your banker. So I'm 55 years old right now. I've had a lot of success in the business world. Like I mentioned, my company, Ride Scout, we later sold it to Mercedes-Benz. You would think on paper, I kind of know finance and banking, but I don't. For instance, those of you entrepreneurs that are out here, Amy and I are considering moving downtown, and we were going through some numbers, trying to figure out how to borrow money and create a mortgage, and and we have our house now with our VA loan. Many of you all have a VA loan. We had the opportunity to buy a second house to help Amy's parents moved to Austin, so we had that mortgage. So when I went to try to get a third mortgage, they laughed me out of the room. They're like, you can't have 3 mortgages, you know, blah, blah, blah. Not Chase, but they said, you can't have 3. But it was my banker, it was my finance guy who said, you know, you can borrow against your assets. A pledged asset loan. Liability loan, pal? Is that about right? And I didn't know. I'm 55 years old. I have 3 grown kids with jobs and they pay taxes. And even I didn't know that that financial vehicle existed for me to let me borrow against my own assets that I already have in the bank. And that's just one example of why you need to get to know your banker, especially as you're growing your business and doing it. Okay. I just want to tell that story. So if I can tell a story about me messing things up at 55, he's telling stories about messing up stuff in college. We're all messing stuff up in different ways. So before we get to the Q&A in a couple of seconds, you personally also do other stuff beyond the bank. We recently got to run for a couple of miles at Carry the Load. If you didn't see the Instagram that we did, we're doing it live. I'm huffing and puffing, being able to barely keep up, and he's over there giving a monologue on all the great things that he does with Carry the Load. But how did you get involved with that? What does it mean to you? And how did you pull together that many people? Because it was 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I also serve as our Texas co-chair of our VETS BRG, or Business Resource Group. So VET stands for Voices of Employees That Serve. So how do we, inside the firm, support our veteran community? And that Business Resource Group is made up of veterans and allies that are employees of the firm. And Carry the Load is an organization led by Clint Bruce, who founded the organization. And JP Morgan has been a title sponsor of Carry the Load for the past 10 years. And so, when we think about how can we as a firm, as individuals, because families are invited, the community's invited, how can we show support for a veteran community? Well, I think Clint Bruce said it best, just walk and show your support, right? You show by action. And so when I moved back to Austin 4 years ago, I'm born and raised here in Austin. I was in Phoenix with the firm for about 10 years. But when I came back to town, they had tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, we need some help locally with the VETS Business Resource Group. You've led people, can you jump in? And I said, absolutely. And then through that iteration of just being a local site lead, they've asked me to help lead the Texas chapter, where for Texas, we have over 2,400 business resource group that are part of our BRG. Across the country, we have, I think, over 30,000 employees that are part of the business resource group. And so it's just an honor for me to partner with organizations like Carry the Load. We do other events here. We work with Texas Ramp Project to build ramps for folks with mobility challenges. And one of the crews we work for is 4 old-time vets that are out there on Saturdays building ramps for people who need mobility access. And so it's going out there in the community, and one of the things that is so important for us, it's being present, being active, and being consistent with that. And so if I can go out there and hunker down 2 miles with a weight vest on in support of our veterans, that's the least I can do to show that support, and I'm just fortunate that we have a firm that believes that wholeheartedly as well.
Yeah, it was a great turnout, great event. Next year, put it on your calendar, be part of Carry the Load. And I wouldn't be an entrepreneur if I wasn't always shamelessly plugging. So he mentioned Clint Bruce. So Clint Bruce, an amazing career, NFL, Navy SEAL, great guy, part-time comedian, I swear. Guy's funny as can be.
Great YouTube videos.
Yeah, oh yeah, I should watch his YouTube videos. But he was our keynote speaker for last year's Leading to Win. So you see how this is all connected together. And one more connection, which we're super proud of, the whole board of Leading to Win, our conference in September, because it is September 11th, that Friday, Thursday night before, we're going to have a special Gold Star family reception. And for those of you who don't know, Gold Star families are those that lost someone in war. And in doing so, in honoring those Gold Star families, you're going to be playing a pivotal role in that. in another hat that you have. So tell us a little bit more about what you do with the museum.
Yeah, so about a year ago, I've got a friend who serves on the board of the Texas Military Forces Museum out at Camp Mabry. Quite honestly, I had no idea it even existed before being asked to jump on the board. And once I got a chance to go to the museum, meet the team, it just made sense. Just paying homage to my uncles who served in the military, and for me to be able to just help be a guide to helping that museum thrive and make sure that we're creating awareness for the community here in Austin and across Texas that this museum exists. It's free for the public. They throw on events all the time, and so for the museum, it's just so imperative that we just continue to communicate to the community that this is another space for our veterans, for our allies to come together and just pay homage to all the sacrifices that our military has done, not just for our country, but also especially here in Texas.
Yeah, and so that night before, which will be September 10th, Leading to Win in coordination with the museum, and hopefully soon, J.P. Morgan Chase.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on that. But describe what that event might mean to you personally and those in the community and what it might look like.
Yeah, I think something so important to recognize that community in a space that's built for community, I think is just going to be an intimate setting where folks can reflect and connect and just create just that space of being human in a time where sometimes it just feels like there's a lot of distance in our community, where we can come together and just for a night recognize folks and honor the service and sacrifice for others. Like, for me, that's what it's all about, is giving back. And if we can create that space at the museum, we're happy to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice evening. Hopefully everybody here can attend. So now we're transitioning to Q&A. Lauren's going to help me out by taking my microphone. Well, either way.
You can share.
Yeah, we'll share. So, hands up, questions. We're not leaving until we get at least 3, and I swear I will point at you and make you ask a question.
We will start with questions or comments that might have come up for you during Peter's share, and then we'll transition to our community ask and give before networking.
Yeah.
So any questions for Peter or Joseph, or maybe comments or takeaways, something new that you learned?
Brian Cook, sir.
I don't like to ask questions. Mike.
Who are you and what have you done with Brian?
That's right. Hey, first of all, thank you very much. Really nice to have leaders like you in our community. It means a lot to all of us. There's something special going on at JP Morgan Chase called CEO Circle. And I've had a couple of friends go through it, and I mean, they're blasting every platform. Like, it was incredible. I love this. I'll forever be grateful to. Can you tell, like, if somebody's getting established as a young businessman or woman, how they can get more information about that?
Yeah, no, certainly. Again, we've been a part of JP Morgan CEO Circle with IBMF, previously Bunker Labs, for a number of years. When you think about an opportunity to bring the entrepreneur community together, to get access to senior leaders at the firm, bring in subject matter experts from different industries, create a community of mentorship and a way for folks to connect, like, that's what it's all about. And so I'm not quite sure when applications for the next cohort go live, but if you follow me and JP Morgan Commercial Bank on LinkedIn, we're definitely promoting that with the application process to go through it. But as you think about the opportunity to connect in a larger way with folks outside of your immediate community here in Austin, it's a phenomenal way to make those connections, and hopefully it makes introductions to future business partners or future vendors or folks from a capital perspective to raise funds for whatever venture that you're undergoing, or even established businesses, right? Established businesses will go through that cohort as well. And so it's just a phenomenal way for us to, again, give back to our military community, but also to making that investment in that next iteration of businesses that are coming down that will hopefully be successful. successful, making an impact in our community and our country.
And I'll say that was a great plug. Thank you, Brian. If you are interested in the CEO Circle program through IBMF, you should also be following IBMF on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to chat about any of those IBMF programs too. Other questions, comments, takeaways from Peter's story? Yes. And would love for you to share your name and a little bit about yourself and then your question.
Great, thank you very much. Colin Augustin, first MCM3 event, so I'm very happy to be here. I want to thank Joseph and Peter for your time. I recently founded an AI native software company down here in Austin, Paris Labs. And I can very much sympathize with starting from the bottom. Now we're here's a story. I went to the Marine Corps infantry as a buck private, so I know what that's about. Quite literally did do some of the mopping in the barracks. And I do think the barracks lawyers are always the guys that talk about what it's like on the outside, but somehow re-enlist every time in 4 years. But the question I had is, one of the decisions I had to make early on in founding my company, and it came to, learning about EIN numbers and the various platforms that are out there for founders. I decided to go with Mercury. I'm sure you're familiar with the platform, but hearing you speak a little bit, and Joseph as well, about having that kind of personal connection to your banking team, essentially, that's a trade-off I made in going with a relatively commoditized platform like Mercury, right? Now, the reason I did it is I'm a solo founder, I wear every hat, business development, engineering, all of it. And that was just something that was relatively quick. I could get legal quickly, so I could start trying to go out and get contracts, right? But I guess I would be curious to know in the post-mortem or kind of the after-action review, what did I sacrifice in going for a relatively commoditized platform like that maybe doesn't have as much of a personal line of communication like that?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And I'm biased, right? Doing JP Morgan my entire career, but I think we all start somewhere, and sometimes that makes the most sense for where you are. And what we see is a lot of our clients evolve, their business evolves, their needs evolve, the complexity of their needs evolve, and sometimes their current financial partner can't facilitate their needs as they look forward. And so I wouldn't say it's a bad decision that you made. I would say that as you take inventory of your current relationship and where you're trying to grow to, is there something that your current institution can facilitate? Or if not, is there another institution that could be more helpful? And if it's JP Morgan, we'd love to have a conversation with you. When we think about the startup community, we have a startup banking team that helps clients from iteration, raising pre-seed, to Series A. We have innovation economy partners. I mean, what we like to say at JP Morgan is we're going to be there from startup to IPO, and we've got the resources to help serve you. And that's why I go back to, it's so important for us to understand where you are today, but also where are you going, so that we can bring those resources in the team to help you get where you want to be.
I love it. Okay, and if there are no more questions, I'd love to transition to our community intros and our ask and our give. But any other questions before I do so?
I just want to make one comment. It's okay if you didn't do it tonight. But since there's a lot of you who I don't recognize, when you get a group like this together, at your next opportunity, ask the shameless question, if only to draw attention to what you or your young and budding company is trying to do. So there we were. 2014, in the early days of me building Ride Scout, I was at this huge transportation conference in Washington, D.C. Everybody in the industry was there. I was in row 92, seat F, way in the back. But I got a microphone from someone like Lauren who was doing it. And I stood up in front of the entire community and said, hi, my name is Joseph Kopser. I'm CEO of a company called Ride Scout. We're trying to organize all the world's transportation in a mobile app to go from point A to point B. My question is for the gentleman from Ford, which is, what is your plan for mobility in the future? I took 30 seconds and in front of, at least in that group, it was, 1,000 people, I had an opportunity afterwards to meet a bunch of people who, half of them said, "You idiot, that was the cheesiest thing I've ever seen in the whole world." The other half said, "Tell me more about this app and what you're working on." Okay, so in the future, doesn't have to be today, but in the future, never miss an opportunity to tell your story. Because if there's one thing that veterans do terribly, is tell their story. And this is a community where we're going to hopefully break you out of that shell so you can feel more comfortable telling about what you are doing. And that's okay, because you are probably part of a team, but what you are doing, more people need to know about. So, any other takers on the question?
I was going to say,
Right
this
there.
is the perfect transition. Question or part of community intros. I see you. Community intro. So, Joseph's point about being succinct. 30 seconds. I want your name, I want your military connection, and that can be civilian ally, military spouse or family member, or if you served or active duty. Tell us, again, a little bit about you or your company. This is a 30-second intro. And then the ask, how can we help you? And the give, how can you help others? So that is the prompt, that is the framework that we use that makes sure that service is at the foundation of everything that we do. So today, we're going with our new folks. I see my two new ladies back here, but raise your hand again if today is your first day. If you're a first timer, you are on deck. Consider yourselves on notice. I see you, Missy, sitting right here. You can prep. All right, I know you're ready to go, Christina, so set us up. Be our good model here.
A good model. That's a stretch, it might be. Hello, everybody. I'm Reverend Christina Valenzuela. I'm hospital foreman deployed in 03. And I am the CEO of Metaphysical Medic. I am a VA employee, used to be a VA employee of umpteen years after the DOD, and we just weren't doing it right. So, for whatever reason, I found myself experiencing and exploring ayahuasca. And that exploration led me to a patent. And I am patented in the United States for bringing ayahuasca back to our service members, police, firefighters, and first responders in a urinalysis safe and very legal way. So what I do is Metaphysical Medic treats PTSD outside of Fort Hood in Killeen. And I am looking for, what's the ask? What's the ask? I don't know. I'm a minister, and I found myself in a CEO position with a patent, and I don't know what to do. I can't continue making all of my products with the demand, so I need manufacturing. I need some kind of business thing. I need an online order capture thing. I need a social media thing. I need research and development, but the president just said, hey, we're going to just go ahead and look at psychedelics, and I'm not psychoactive. So what that did was put me in the legal environment, in Texas particularly, to blow up. And I need help. All of my products impact immediately while you're standing there. You automatically feel a relief of stress, whether you're dealing with my... I invented several things, and I've never invented anything before this, but vape juice, an edible, yes sir.
What do you want to offer up to give?
I've gotten up at 3:30 in the morning to save ass for Uncle Sam for the last 20 years. So all of that is giving, and what I need is help giving to the rest, to get out into the commercial marketplace, to put the patent out there so everybody says, oh, but isn't that illegal? Christina, you can't do that. And just listen for a second, and you'll find out it's absolutely legal. You'll find out it's absolutely family friendly. You'll find out that it's wonderful to experience, especially if you're dealing with stress-related issues, PTSD, and the like. And any other questions? I value your time. And
Thank you.
Okay.
I will give that Christina is a gifted healer.
Okay, that's a wonderful, wonderful endorsement. Are you also new first
I
time?
am, unfortunately, so I put myself up for that.
Okay, you ready? You ready? You got your 30-second intro, you're asking your give.
I am Lisa. I'm a military spouse. My husband. A veteran spouse, actually. I was not with him while he was active. I am currently job seeking, so marketing leadership, and that is also something I can give. And so the ask is just to connect. I'm not like building any products yet, but I'm certainly open to it.
Love it. That's Alyssa, everyone. Make sure you connect with her if you have a line on jobs or if you need marketing help. Who else is new? Yes, sir.
Howdy y'all, I'm Tanner Maxson, U.S. Air Force, been a while. But I've been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years in a landscaping business and through a side quest. I have developed a service that we do that's going to end up being a branch off of our landscaping business. We're the only snow and ice management company in Texas. And
Tell us what snow or ice is.
snow is this, it's like diamonds that fall from the sky. And so when we clean that up, the distribution centers and hospitals, they all call us.
Wow.
And so we've grown so fast and it's really profitable for us. And so right now, I buy all the equipment I can afford and I sell it out really fast. And I've had a couple people approach me to invest in my company, and so I'm just kind of trying to figure out how do you do a valuation on your company and how do you structure a deal and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of, even though I'm an entrepreneur, this is a new realm for me, and getting a partner is kind of a scary thing. So, but I can't grow at the rate I want to grow with the opportunities that are there. So my ask is, I got a question. So I got somebody that wants to invest in my company. They want to give me X dollars for a percentage of my company. But I also want to invest a big chunk of cash into my company. So how do you do a valuation of your company when you say you have this much profit, this many multiples, is this worth, say, $2 million? They want to give you this and take 30%. Okay, that's great, but that's not enough money. I want to throw in another huge chunk. So now what's the valuation do? Do I call it a loan? That'll probably not be good. And to try to claw that money back?
Complex.
Do we? Okay, so that's the ask.
Okay, that's
Well, I can tell you, the answer won't be settled tonight, I'll tell you that, but definitely having a good banking partner that can help get you the right resources to do that valuation and really understand what that equity portion of that business is and kind of what that looks like in terms of your P&L statement, your balance sheet. So happy to connect you with some folks that we have at the bank and then externally as well.
Okay.
That was going to be one of mine.
And so my give, over the last 20 years, I have been distracted on a few things because I have the shiny object syndrome. I can make money in just about anything, so you chase them all. So I have a side quest test for you guys. There's 10 questions, and if you fail at any one of the questions, you have to throw that idea in the trash so that you don't get distracted with a side quest. So I'll dig that file up and I'll give it to you guys to.
I like it, Tanner. I like it. Okay. So you're going to get introduction from Peter for a banker. I was also going to suggest Brian Cook might have some thoughts. For you. Slicing the Pie is also a great book on how you divide your company for startup founders. And then I love your give, which is to help people navigate their own ADHD and picking an idea to follow. So we have Christina, who wants to help heal you. We have Lissa, who wants to help you market your business.
I got ADHD.
There you go. Christina, you and Tanner, you guys are up next. All right, who is on deck? My new folk. Sal, step up.
Howdy, my name is Salvador Medina, but you guys can call me Sal. I know Salvador is a mouthful, right? God bless, live Tejanos, right? I run a... She gets it. I would too if I had another beer, but hey, those veterans drank it up pretty fast.
We refill.
Nice. I have a podcast. I'm really just trying to build out the business of myself, right? I'm working with Joey Fisher here on 98 Octane, so he's using me as a subject for his work, so, we're just trying to do that. So I think my ask is just some guidance. If you want to build a narrative about you, yourself, or your project, come on my platform, and we can push your narrative. Or maybe if you kind of messed up, we could mend those issues within the community, right, guys? So, thank you.
Okay, who's next? All right, I'm going across the room. I am coming back to you, young lady. Don't think I forgot.
Hello everyone, I discovered this amazing community, so first of all, thank you for everyone who served. I'm an entrepreneur myself. So my ask is obviously how do I grow my startup, and trying to think of the different connections. And what I guess I can give is that if anybody is interested in introductions to small business owners, we've got about 250,000 of them. Small business owners that are creating communities on our platform, and those communities are owned by the small businesses, and the reason they're doing that is because they no longer want to build on platforms they do not own, or when the platform tries to intervene with either their audience or what they're building. In other words, if you're building on one of the major platforms that you can think of, and I don't know, someone named Mark thinks that you should see shampoo, and you don't want to see shampoo. And you can't do anything about it because your audience is there. And it gets worse because you see shampoo and Mark keeps the money. And it gets worse, you see shampoo, Mark keeps the money, and your competition goes on this platform, buys Facebook ads, and targets your audience. So we're switching those rules, and that's it.
And your name?
My name is Ron.
There you go, Rowan. Okay. All right, who else is next up? All right. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Andrea Woodruff. I run or die with my husband, Josh Woodruff, Dr. Woodruff, and we have 2 interns, UT and Yale. And we have a lot of military family. My father, the VA, just took my dad through the even-year process. And he did a great job. But anyway, we have a product that we're working on right now, a tool, a decision analysis tool, and it does some game theory, and then it moves over to mathematical optimization, which basically means we try to help the human in the loop make figure out the right decision, how to counteract based on other people reacting, and then what decision to make and then how to make it. And so I guess that's my gift. My ask is we could really use some field users, so if these business questions or whatever, we're developing a library on solving problems, so we can use some people that want to be taken through a professional loop, and that's my gift too.
Amazing. And question for clarity, and it's Andrea or Andrea? Andrea. So this decision-making platform is to help business owners or family members? Business owners, okay. So if you are a small business owner, a startup founder, and you're looking how to navigate decision-making at your business, talk to Andrea, right? Okay. Who else? All right, we got a few more. Yes, James, I'm coming for you.
Yep, so James Fouts, retired Air Force, actually used the museum, lovely facility if you ever need to do a military retirement. So, weather forecaster by trade, spent most of my time with the Army, so wore the Air Force uniform. We got to play the parents against each other depending on what I need to play. So I don't actually have an ask really. I'm kind of here because I used to work at AppWorks, and I realized a couple months ago that I kind of missed the community of being around entrepreneurs and helping people out. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And so like my give would be that if you're trying to do stuff in the federal space, like I'm totally happy to have a conversation. I'm in the utility space now, so if you need to know about municipal water and energy, I can do that as well. So, but yeah, I enjoy the veteran community. The ecosystem here is like super cohesive, and so I just wanted to kind of get my toes back in it. So, there we go.
All right, love it, James. So we have have Lissa, we have James, we have Tanner, we have Andrea, we have Rowan somewhere. Okay, Chris.
Howdy, Chris Tedeschi. I'm wearing my AUSA hat right now. Association, that's it. Thank you, Mike. Really, it's just an announcement. As we do this military connected community, this is every second Wednesday. Every third Tuesday of the month, we have a industry breakfast with T2Com, Transformation and Training Command. We have one next week. It's going to be in Round Rock at the Chamber of Commerce at 8 o'clock, 08 for the former military folks. And we're going to hear from 3rd Armored Corps and their new Phantom X platform, how soldiers, industry, and academia all work together on bringing new equipment and new capabilities to the field. There's information on it on LinkedIn. If you look at the Texas Capital Region chapter of AUSA, you can find the information about how to get there. But again, every third Tuesday, we don't do it in July because July is just horrible. And then we're looking at doing some additional programming for the Fed Supernova coming in August, and then again in September and in October at AUSA National. So that's my view.
Love it. Thank you, Chris. And we will include that in our next Leading to Win newsletter. All right. Who have I missed? You just want to say hi?
Oh, yeah.
No, there's a guy.
Oh.
There's a guy.
There's a guy over there.
Yes,
sir. Come on. I gave you my seat.
Good job, Chris.
I'm Sharan. I'm from India, and I'm not connected with the military background at all. But I founded a company called Soma OS. I build operating systems for electric vehicles. I build operating systems for electric vehicles, and I'm raising my pre-seed right now, and I'm looking for help. I'm actually solo and doing everything by myself. I need advice. I mean, not advice. I need mentorship, guidance, and all to build something which is new to the market, and that's it.
You know who you should be talking to? This man James on potential government contracting and how electric vehicles depend on utility markets and infrastructure. So I think that you have found someone that you should be talking to. Love it. Did I miss any newcomers? This is a good crop, y'all. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I fear the school in me is coming out, and I didn't talk in school, so I was gonna skip by. But I kind of do a few different things. I have a business right now. I take pictures for athletes and people in the gym, bodybuilder types and such. But I'm actually here because I would love to start the research portion of a potential founder business, almost like a software for founders to use for starting up their businesses. Like you said, I don't remember your name, I apologize. What was it? Colin said, you wear a lot of hats when you start a business, and so, I mean, you have friends and family to help you out. You maybe have bankers if you have good bankers and such. But I want to create some sort of software to almost be that other person that you can rely on to, focus your attention on the to-do list for the day, so you're not scatterbrained throughout, every single day and you're questioning if you should do this or not. So that is, I'm looking research, that's right. I would like to know what problems founders are facing currently so I can develop something that would actually benefit them. Because if I don't know what problems there are, I can't develop something to fix them. So
And this is at the stage of starting a new company?
Yes. And if anyone needs pictures, I know how to take pictures. I brought my camera tonight. Bree. Thank you, Bree.
Okay, so as we wrap up, there's one last thing we have to do that we did not do last month. No.
Oh,
Not the photo, yeah.
oh,
That's what we didn't do last month. We are going to take a photo, but there's something we didn't do last month that I felt was missing, and we're going to do it this month. And it's a practical exercise. It's a what?
The push-ups.
No. So, to build community, you have to be deliberate. And to make sure that the tree fell in the woods and somebody heard it, you have to be deliberate. And what we're going to do tonight is an exercise for some of you that haven't been on LinkedIn. You need, in this community, LinkedIn is where business gets done. So, practical exercise. If you have a phone, if you have LinkedIn, if you have an account, pull it out right now. Because what I want to do is show you the power of what happens when we all work together. So go to your LinkedIn, and in the I'm looking for, in the search bar at the top, type in KOPSER. And when I type in KOPSER,
Are you trying to set a record now?
well, I'm going to show you what happens first. So you see a little picture of me, hopefully, Joseph Cox with my funny little hat. All right? You scroll down. If you scroll down, you'll see in the activity section, you'll see MCM3 with this handsome mug right next to me. Anybody not there yet? Anybody not there? If you're not, have somebody look. Then go and tap on that post. Not the picture, but the post itself. And then scroll down to the comment section. Right now, there's like 3 comments. So in the comment section, where it says leave your thoughts here, pause for just 1 second and think out loud or think to yourself, who is not here tonight that needs to be here next month? Is it your co-founder? Is it a teammate? Is it somebody that you knew? And type in that person's name, do @ and then type in that person's name and say, in my case, Craig Cummings, you missed a great one tonight. I hope you can join us next month. So I'm going to do that real quick in real time.
While everyone is doing that, this will serve a dual purpose in that we will then get to track those comments and send you an invitation to our LinkedIn group. So you can continue the conversation with people that you meet here and other members of our MCM3 community. So we're double dipping. You're tagging someone who needs to be here, and I will be able to see each of you when you comment, add you as a friend, and add you to our group.
All right, boom. I've hit post, I've hit comment, because for many of you all, LinkedIn is the best marketing platform that is mostly for free, that you're not utilizing enough, because every time I see your name in one of my comments, it'll jog my memory, it'll keep you on top of my mind. When somebody's looking for something, if I remember that that was you, I'm going to be more likely to remember it. Okay, Peter, anything else to say before we kick out, before Lauren, we do the photo?
Yeah, so I want to say, again, thank you for having me.
And give a big hand for being here.
I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank Lauren and Joseph and the whole team that puts this on for having me. And just before I leave, for those of you guys who don't know, that Joseph was so gracious enough to share his story at our Carry the Load March a few weeks ago, and it was really inspiring. The feedback I got from those folks, we had over 200 folks that helped march 1.8 miles in South Austin near Zilker Park. But the stories that were told were so inspiring. The feedback we got was so great that I want to say thank you, number one. And then I wanted to also give you a challenge coin from Carry the Load. So I appreciate you. I really appreciate that.
Okay, so Joseph, are we going to do selfie style, or you want him to come up here?
I think we try to come up. This is a big crowd.
Okay, I want to ask everyone, I know your ex-wife is following you on social and you don't want her to see the photo, but get up here.
Who's taking the photo?
Okay, so Jeanette is going to take the photo for us. Thank you, Jeanette. She'll set it up with a timer so that she can participate.
Squeeze in. Act like you like each other.
We're going to get you to do this next time, girl.
More people in the front. You're not
And
short.
yes, you know that you are tall. Mike Johnson, Kristen Ashby, you know. You guys are tall.
This is a really big group, forward to taking knee. So a third row in front, so squeeze in.
There we go.
I'll take a knee,
Come
squeeze
on,
in.
call it.
Squeeze in, squeeze in.
Take a knee.
Squeeze in.
There we go. Not the shoulder. Right. Your knees are still decent. All right. Scooch, scooch, scooch. I will come in right there. Jeanette, you see where you're hopping in? Right there.
Oh, I've been recording it on video this whole time.
How do they organize?
And it won't turn off.
Well, live demo.
You would never think I'm public affairs, right?
Thank you, Jeanette. Everyone say thank you, Jeanette.
Here we go. Remember, we have to do time. Whatever wants to. Yeah. Okay.
And then when we post this on LinkedIn, you can go tag yourselves and reshare it. Yes.
Here it goes.
Come on.
I didn't know.
Yay!
One more. You
Just
can't
need
do
it.
this.
Somebody complained about last time?
There you go.
All right, here we go.
One is none. Two is one.
Alright, everybody jump.
Perfect.
You know that getting off of one knee is the
Hello. How you doing?
Hi.
Great to see you. That's why I wanted to introduce you to. Sal. Yeah, yes, sir. Until then, you're getting up at 5:30. You gotta eat what you choose. I'm
We also have a school Yes. Yeah. Let's get connected, and I can connect you with that team. They actually emailed me this morning. It's funny that you told me about that. So, yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, man. Yeah. How's it going? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to introduce you to my startup banking team. Yeah, and so one of the guys who comes to some of these events, actually, Joseph and Lauren had him on a panel last year at Q-Bridge. His name's Adrian Lopez, and so, like, you took him to the ringmaster. Yeah. Let's get connected on LinkedIn. Send me your email. What I'll do is I'll email you and connect you with Adrian, and we can schedule a time to visit, whether Zoom or we're just here at 405 Colorado, so happy to have you at our little better office.
I'm always in between sometimes I go to Mexico City.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. My internet's not working, so I just got released. So, yeah, but let me connect you with Adrian and that team. Because your industry sector falls in line in our innovation economy team. That's not my team. I don't deal with that industry specifically in the bank. That team does, and so you're right in the alley.
And it happened actually very interestingly because we're in San Antonio, the San Pedro One building with USA. It's a new $1 billion building. We're on the 4th floor in the national security sector. We're helping these developments. And all of a sudden, we're testing this technology in very low black consumption. Our drones, CubeSats, and we're lowering to 12 watts. And we can run an LLM. We can actually run an actual 4 billion LLM on a CubeSat. So to make it autonomous and to do all these different things, and we've been testing it. So we have now these missions thanks to
That's awesome.
And we have a couple of more that we probably landing, so 3 missions.
That's amazing, man. That's awesome.
It's exciting. It's exciting because we've been in technology forever. And technologies, but the thing is that hardware and software now you integrate AI.
Well, and that also fits. I don't know if you've seen the announcement came out earlier this year, our security and resiliency initiative.
I'm new to these groups.
So JP Morgan came out with a $10 billion investment into security and resiliency initiative, right? So think about our most critical sectors of aerospace, defense, critical minerals, materials, all that. So there's a cohort within the firm that is helping identify these companies. How do we help them? How do we potentially invest in them as well? And then also bring in the partners that are looking to get into this industry.
I have not set up the structure yet. Sure. Because I'm preparing everything like last time.
Yeah. Well, you can connect with Adrian. Thank you for emailing.
Yeah, for sure. I will send you the information. Thank you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
So I'm working on a startup.
Okay.
I'm trying to build
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So you're looking for help to kind of get the raise and guidance on. It's a tool, right? It's a tool to leverage appropriately for your business, right? And that's one of the things, as long as I've been with JP Morgan, like helping a client get a loan, we have to make sure also so that they're prepared to deploy that capital so that we don't put them in a worse position than they were when they came to the bank, right? And so having someone who understands your business and how to actually deploy that capital in a smart way that's advantageous for your business is hugely important to us, right? Because as a bank, right, if we make a loan, the last thing we want to do is collect on a default because that doesn't do us any good, right? And so how do we do that smartly and strategically? And so with your technology, and as I shared with the other gentlemen, we've got a team within the firm that's startup equity that is ideation, raising capital, but also, as I shared with another person, Sunday, one of the most valuable things that we bring to our clients is connectivity to other people that are either adjacent to your space or in your space. Maybe that is someone who you can partner with, or maybe that's an investor that you're looking for, right, to bring you the capital so that you're not having to take on debt onto the business, right? And all of that fun stuff. So I would love to be connected to that team that can give you that advisory guidance that you're looking for. Because within JP Morgan, that's a sector that I don't specifically work in, and I just work with my colleagues who help all our clients that are in that space. Yeah, I would love to. You're on LinkedIn. Right. So I just sent you a connection. My Wi-Fi is not working I'm gonna say, when I get home tomorrow, I'll send you my email and contact information. And then if you'll send me an email, and then I'll connect you with my colleague. All my team is based in Austin. My colleagues are based in Austin. And then if we need to bring in an industry specialist from a different side that may not be local, we still do that. Like I've got a banker that I work with that's in Houston that does defense tech and aerospace, and so like happy to bring him into the conversation.
I know roughly all the stuff I need, and right where I stand looks like a mountain.
Sure.
Because I'll be honest, I'm just a little boy. Basically, I was
Sure.
And I lived in Florida for years.
That's wonderful.
That's where I am right now. So I'm trying to go from that to getting something set up that uses product and makes money, and I can actually pay my bills.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly. It's a life of a grinder, man. You're living it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see how we can be helpful. I'd love to. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Hey, Colin, how are you, man? Yeah, certainly, man. A great question, by the way. Yeah. Great question. Yeah. Yeah.
I have like a noon to one.
I mean, it fits. Like I've got someone who I'm working with right now. Like they reached out. This business went from 2 years ago, $0 in revenue, close to $100 million. Yeah. They're at Rex and they're like, hey, it's great and it's worked for the time we've had it, but our needs have grown substantially different and the complexities are different. And so we're having those conversations to say, and that's my job, right? So I'm saying, like, how are you using Brex today, right? How is that workflow with everything, right? And then where are you going? So that now, what I don't want to do is disrupt the things that you're doing, your revenue flows and all of your AP and AR. So then how do we leverage our platform and technology to enhance and speed up and make more efficiencies? But that's the song and dance of the job that we do. So, and I mean, I just think that a lot of it's not just really the entire process of doing the startup is commoditized, right? But you know, I got a move to Chicago. Weirdly enough, it was like I don't consider myself to be somebody that knows finance, right? I did a little bit of stinky work to find Chevron, but oil and gas and supply and trading. But you know, as a founder now, especially with the next one, I'm really felt that, and my thing is like, this is something that gets me access to the bare minimum, of what I know. So I'm able to kind of like iterate quickly, and then, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, in the future, you know, willing, but my company grows, right? So there can be conversations, but right, it's something where I'm trying to do a good enough job of bringing the story with me, so that in the future, because I understand, you know, I have a ton of friends that are on the street or in various aspects of, you know, back office, front office, and it's like I know the power of having those connections.
what having a more personalized kind of financial relationship means. But for me, like I said, I focus a lot just to come out of the engineering spring, and now I'm gearing up for this is actually something that I have 3 minutes of your time. Yeah, no, absolutely. But I focus on AI native software. However, I do the AI wrappers and things like that. I'm focused on probably the least sexy aspect of AI, which is governance and compliance. And however, I think that's probably one of the most underinvested aspects of it. And it's something that needs to scale with PMOs, right? But inherently, because I'm building sovereignty layer, I'm probably going to have to be looking at in my runway like a pre-revenue raise, right? And I know that the environment for pre-revenue capitalization is just not what it was 3 years ago, right? Like I've been talking to people that
everything's changing so fast,
and they say like, listen, you have to do as much as you can to give the proof, right? Like they have to be able to build a risk model, they have to be able to know what their exit strategy is, right? But what I'm trying to navigate, right, is like when I founded my company, I did so because I offered it in a kernel, right? So it's a piece of intellectual property, and it's something that I'm hoping I can eventually drive towards platform. Inherently, it's very hard to get to that first dollar of revenue. Sure. Because it's not something that customers, I'm going out and doing discovery calls, and I'm trying to see about the margins. And like ultimately, the very nature of building clients, and right now I'm focusing on like legal tech. And eventually I'd love to take on all of the challenges that healthcare. Right. Yeah. And the thing is like I'm gonna have to be a little bit slower than somebody that's coming out and AI wrapper. Right. Well, it's like you can go to a market and just ask people what's the problem, and then really quickly build an AI wrapper. But ultimately, I don't want to go that route because in a couple of years, what's to say that an AI wrapper is just going to be a feature of a platform, right? And so I wanted to take a bet on let's offer a piece of IP and try to, I wouldn't say build a market, but what would be your advice? Because like I think I'm probably going to start having early conversations with angels and high network people, high network. But it's so hard right now. It's crazy. And I'm really looking for each capital. Right. Like, because I need to do this with design partners, like, I need to go to a couple of law firms and sit with them for a month straight and co-design this with them. But ultimately, my runway is not going to be really a whole year. Right. So what would be your advice? Like, how do I get there? How do I show the value? Aside from
yeah, that was long. No. It's a great question, and unfortunately, I don't have the answer for you. But what I do have is the space in which you're in. I have a team here in Austin that works with me within the commercial bank. It's our startup banking team. So their main focus is to work with companies like you, pre-seed, raising revenue, up to Series A, right? So that whole journey, right? I'm 0 to 1. Right. So aside from the banking, right? Banking, and I didn't go into it in terms of the conversation, right? There's a lot of blocking and tackling, right? The simplicity of some of the treasury stuff, and then we build on how that complexity changes with how your business grows. But the other side of what we do is the advisory side, right? Is how do we take a look at your pitch deck, right? How do we look at the things that you're doing when you're talking to those angel investors, and the feedback that we're getting from our ecosystem of angel investors that are saying, hey, who can you introduce me to, right? So their job is to really bridge that gap for their clients that they manage and work with to all of our ecosystem of folks that look at JP Morgan and say, hey, you guys are banking all these companies that we want to get in front of, so how do we help that scenario? And so I would love to get you connected with the team here in Austin. I think that what you're looking for, like, they would be a phenomenal fit to make those introductions and at least give you some guidance and advisory
And if it makes sense for you to bank with us, like we would love to, of course, love to have that opportunity. But I think just having a conversation and walking through what you're doing would also maybe open up some other opportunities to make some introductions, because I didn't convey it as well as I wanted to in the conversation, but one of the things that a lot of our clients look to us at JP Morgan is it's not just the banking and the security and all of that fun stuff, but it's our ecosystem and network, right? Because also within our group at the commercial bank, we also manage family offices, private equity groups, VC firms who are looking at JP Morgan and saying, hey, can you make introductions, right? And so we have a whole team when clients come to us and say, hey, I need to raise money. Here's my pitch deck. Can you guys take a look at it? Do you know anybody in your ecosystem that is in this space or is looking for companies like mine? And are they investing right now? Or what are you hearing from them when they're looking at deals or opportunities, so that then that informs you to, hey, maybe I need to pivot here or there based on what the market is saying in terms of concerns, right? So I would love to make that connection for you. Yeah, certainly. So if you'll connect with me on LinkedIn and then send me an email with your contact information, and then I'll do, here's mine. I honestly didn't learn that until probably like a year and a half ago, because I'm like, Colin, what's your last name? And I'm searching and someone just goes, hey, just click that little thing. Oh yeah, it's
whenever I'm, I over you get used to like conversations and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you're always in a conversation, and then it's like that. It's like putting change in your wallet or something at the checkout, right?
Yeah.
You're like, but anyways, I would love to connect.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, what I'm like, and I've done the best I can. I came down to, I have a pretty good network in Chicago, and I might actually go back up there a little while to, when I'm really trying to get past that drive, right? Because that's what the network is. But Austin is I came down here for the energy for this,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's like I have mentors now, and like one, a guy that did 35 years, fantastic, and like I hear his narrative, and then I go back to my business plan, and my dad, and I'm like, rewrite it, and like, crap, like, there's no way, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm pre-revenue, you know what I mean? Like, how am I going to get their model to what he's saying it needs to be? Yeah. But then at the same time, I another friend who's like the CEO now, he's like, yeah, I had an idea, I didn't have a product, and I'm like, I have 3 products built. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's just hard, especially when these narratives can be your model. Yeah. And it's like, I'll wake up one day and I'm like, I'm done. There's no way I'm gonna do it. And then the next day I'll be like, somebody's gonna buy it. You know what I mean? So but yeah, I'd love to connect. I would say, man, just stay focused on what your intuition is and what you're believing in, what you're building, because there's a ton of noise out there. I was just sharing with one of the other gentlemen. I've got a prospective client I got introduced to a couple years ago. They've got an established company growing in an industry that, again, we get support in covering, and they do a lot of stuff with carbon markets. And so, long story short, we had touched base last year. They were looking to raise a Series B. We were getting connected internally. Some things fell off on their end. Well, I just got an email this morning from that team going, hey, we were just talking to the carbon markets team. That client's name came up. Like, I think that with this new initiative that we have, like, they would be a great connection. Like, send me the updated stuff, narrative, and I'll send it connected and all that stuff. And I was just like, you never know what happens, right? Temperatures change, and so I would just say, stay on your course, and things are going to work out. I'm really on a mission. I just see the proliferation of inference. I see the proliferation of agents and everything.
Oh man, I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah, but then I sit here and I say, I want to focus on something that's a little bit not as much grounded shipping on the
yeah.
Because I like, you can throw a rock and roll with 15 companies and open it that does this one little thing up your stack. Right. But my thing is like, guys, I don't think and I'm going back to my tech strategy class in business school, I don't think we figured out what platforms to use, right? And so I'm like, it's hard for me to say that like an AI raptor company, like that might get absorbed by an incumbent, that might become just a feature and a platform, right? And I'm like, if safety compliance is something where I'm like, no, I can actually like try to have something that's neutral. Yeah. I'm not, and also everything I love about this is like very little liability. Right? I don't hold fingerprints. Right. I don't hold anybody's data on a server. All I do is provide the mediation, right? And I'm like, that seems where I can put a thing in. Like I think now the market's kind of coming around for like, wait a minute, we don't have infrastructure.
Well, and I've gone to a number of entrepreneur small business events, and again, the question is like, how are you integrating AI in your business? Yeah. Well, for a small business owner, right, and even clients that are in my revenue size, they're still not adopting yet. And when they do, their concern is safety, security, right?
And the biggest thing is, like when I was in Chevron, National Water, a large provider of supplies, There's no, right? That regardless of what we do, and you have an enterprise contract, every time somebody uses Copilot, this calls out the API and it sits on their servers for 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, like that's why I'm legal. I want to touch the financial healthcare. Yeah. The procurement license,
oh yeah.
But my thing is like, in the future, like if you want to see even at the big layer, but small business owners, they don't even want to use it. Like, they don't even trust it. And everybody's like kind of mad at it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what I'm trying to do is build a platform that's like, you can use it out, because I'm going to interconnect it. And by the way, all of you are offering alongside very local data. And basically I provide a threshold of I'm an AI engineer, right? I'm whatever you need to do, right? Like, hey, I've helped you with this resource 200 times in the last month, and we've always improved the way that you engage in the post and well, now I have a demand to say 200 out of 200 times, just click a button and automate.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for your message. We will connect again. Thank you.
Hey,
good to meet you, Corey. We will connect.
I got your LinkedIn.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll connect. And I'd love to come see that fancy building you got there. Yeah. Anyways, long story short, like, it's that argument. Like, some people, they don't want to have to, like, worry about APIs or total economics. And it's like, just give them something that allows them to, be honest with you, small business owners is something that I really want. I grew up in a town of 12 people. But, like, most of that business I got a guy that I'm doing for a custom business intelligence. He's a restaurant too. This guy manages an inventory like it's an old West General store. Right. It's like literally pen and paper. And I'm like, dude, like I get it. Like you've been doing business this way, and you have like these relationships are basically what keeps you around. Yeah. But like if you're not preparing yourself for what's coming down the pipe, you're gonna get crushed, you know what I mean? And it's like you're just not gonna be able, the economics are not on your side.
And it's moving so fast that by the time you try to jump on the train, it's already to the next city.
But I think there is this window of opportunity because like LLMs are one thing, it's possibly whatever model. I've worked in AI, sometimes up to 18 hours a day when I'm building it. Like, these people don't care about that. Like, they don't, you know what I mean? Like, they just want to have something that's simple and easy to use.
Bring a use case to how it helps my business.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. Like, that's something that and even when I came out here, I was just bright-eyed and bushy down. I'm like, this is so easy. Yeah. All the advice I've gotten is like, don't have the engineering jargon. Don't try to explain how beautiful your software is. Like, it's outcomes. Yeah. People buy on outcomes.
Solving the problems I have today. Yeah. Awesome. Good to connect, man. Thanks for talking.
Man. I'll it's a LinkedIn message. I'll shoot you my email. I'd love to just get you.
Yeah, I'll get you connected and then we'll help you out.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Business happening.
Yeah.
if I had been in my life, it would be a woman-owned business. So what I do, like, I wear a couple different hats. So on one hand, like I manage the entire, like, and so I like run our budget and then our portfolio. And I go to the calendar, I write out what's going on. So, but it's good. It's just any odd order.
I'm doing good. Let's walk, because they're trying to get this out. Predicting. Want to be respectful to the state.
Really well attended, it was really well engaged. I think we had a great steering committee conversation. I think we were super productive. Did you park in the garage? No, I'm about to do. Oh, we're back. Walk down those, park elsewhere. Well, I started doing that because I ended up taking home so many damn cookies. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I can't have cookies in my house because then I'll eat them. It's okay if I have like fruit and cheese in my house, right?
Right.
But a whole thing of cookies? No, no, no. This
That's
is
my
bad
weakness.
news.
That's my weakness right there.
All right, girl. You ready? No, I'm ready. I thought you were still in because I didn't know if this was your stuff. There are some glasses and some other labels.